for the last 10 to 12 years, my go-to carry guns have primarily been polymer framed striker fired pistols, and that's worked out pretty well until somewhat recently. I guess I've been feeling a little bit bored, and I've wanted to spend more time shooting hammer fired guns. Then CZ announced the release of the Shadow2 Carry, and I figured that was a perfect opportunity for me to move over into a hammer fired gun for a while. I'm Mike, this is 360 Tactical Solutions, and clearly today we're here to talk about the CZ Shadow2 Carry. Before we do though, quick reminder, there's a link down in the description to my website where there is all kinds of information, deals, and an entire tab dedicated to promo codes for companies that I am positive you're going to want to save money at. When I turned 21, it was cool to be able to go out to the bar, buy my own alcohol, all that stuff. But the thing that I was most excited about was heading to the gun store to buy my first pistol, which is this one here, 9mm Baby Eagle. I absolutely love this gun. Over the years, I have bought, sold, and traded. I can't tell you how many guns, but this one, I just can't seem to let it go. I friggin' love this thing. So naturally, when I was looking into buying a hammer-fired gun for carry use, I was real excited about the CZ Shadow2 Carry. Now, originally I was looking at the Shadow2 Compact, but something was telling me to just wait it out, and I'm glad that I did because this bad boy was released. Now, today isn't going to necessarily be a deep dive. This is basically going to be more of an intro than anything. I took this out, when I picked it up, I took it out and I probably put 200 rounds through it. I'm going to put, I don't know, maybe 200 rounds through it today. We're just in that break-in period. I am going to wait to make any real changes to this gun until I hit the 1,000 round mark, and then we'll be back with a whole bunch of upgrades that I have sitting on the desk at home as we speak. So the Shadow2 Carry is really not that much different from the Shadow2 Compact. In fact, it's essentially the same gun. The only thing that they really changed is that you have a decocker as well as a firing pin block. The other thing is the optic cut. So this one is cut so that it is a direct mount for, say, the K series of optics from Holosun. So in order to put something like an RMR or, you know, the Holosun 507 comp on this, you would have to get an adapter plate. At first, I was a little apprehensive about that because I want a big window on my carry gun because my vision sucks. But honestly, I've got the EPS carry on here and I'm happy with it. I have a couple of these at home, so it's not like I don't have experience with this optic, but I really do feel like it fits this gun really well. That optic cut is nice and low so that if you care about co-witnessing, you have a great co-witness with those iron sights. One downside, I don't think the iron sights are very good at all. Mine aren't that consistent. So you have glow-in-the-dark 3-dot sights. They're not tritium or anything. Honestly, they're kind of cheesy. The rear left dot is nice and bright as far as the paint goes. The rear right dot is not quite as bright. And then my front sight dot is really dark, actually. They're not 3 different colors, but the brightness is different. It's almost like they didn't get enough paint in those other 2 dots as they did the rear left side. Now for me, that's not really a big deal because I prefer to use some sort of optic and I don't really care about co-witnessing. But I would say this much, for as much as this gun costs, I would hope that CZ would do something better with the iron sights. Really, no big deal because, as you all know, there is such a huge aftermarket presence for the Shadow2 line that if you don't like the sights that are on it, it's not a huge deal to get upgraded sights. Another change that you can't see on mine because I have the TLR7X sub on here is that your pick rail has multiple slots on there versus the Compact that only has a single slot. So you get a little bit more versatility as far as what kind of light you can mount to this. For me, I like that. I'm happy with that. Like I said, this is basically the same gun with just a couple little changes to it. The decocker is one, so instead of having a safety, you have a decocker. Personally, I would prefer a safety. I like to carry with the hammer all the way back and the safety on, so that when I draw, I can just release the safety and pull the trigger and get that nice, short, crisp, light trigger pull. CZs are known for having great triggers. They aren't 2011s, but still they're great triggers. I find though, with the somewhat limited round count that I have on this thing right now, I am kind of struggling with that trigger, just getting used to it. And I'm going to put together a video here in the next couple of weeks about, training. This is an issue that I can train through. I just need more time with it. But when the decocker is down like that, that pull weight, I struggle with the first round from that point because that pull weight is so heavy compared to what I'm used to. Now, before, when I was carrying this bad boy here, that wasn't such a big deal because that's just what I carried. That's just what I shot all the time. If you're going from a polymer gun over to a hammer-fired gun, just expect there may be a little bit of a learning curve. At the end of the day, train, 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 and you'll get through it. So a lot of people are excited about that decocker. Personally, like I said, I'd prefer a safety, but whatever. The firing pin block is a great safety feature that they've added to these guns. Does it need it? I don't know. I've never shot myself in the junk, so I couldn't tell you. Ergonomically speaking, the Shadow2 Carry and Shadow2 Compact are some of the most comfortable guns that I've ever held and fired in my life. I've said many times before on this channel that I'm a big fan of this style of beaver tail. It fits me incredibly well. I love how this feels in the hand. I will say this, I feel like the grip on this feels a little bit short. I do have a remedy for that. I'm going to put a magwell on there to kind of snuggle my pinky in there and give me a little bit better leverage over it. But all in all, it's good. These stock grips, I don't like them. To me, they are a little bit smooth for my liking. Of course, I like a more aggressive grip style than most people do, but that's an easy change. I can go ahead and put like some lock grips on there or whatever and be good to go. Your grip has a lot to do with consistency and accuracy, as well as recoil mitigation. The combination of a more aggressive grip and this beaver tail makes this an incredibly accurate and well balanced, easy to handle firearm. In terms of accuracy, from what I've put down range on this firearm so far, I feel like it's definitely an accurate gun. I have no complaints with that. In fact, this was my first target when I took it out to the range. This was my first 3 mags through the gun at 15 rounds. I was trying to blow out that center spot, but I ran out of ammo in those 3 mags, and I said, you know what, that's close enough. Pay no attention to this little guy down there. It happens. Now, out at the range today, I have my TA targets, reduced C-zone target with me, as well as the little flip over hostage target. I've been looking for the last 2 weeks for that thing. I couldn't find it. Somehow it got kicked under a bench in my garage, but that's fine. So I have that set up with me, and I'm going to go ahead and get that set up and just really put some rounds through this. Like I said, maybe 300 rounds. I've got 500 in the van, but I don't have a lot of time today, so probably just going to do about 250, 300 rounds. That trigger's going to take some getting used to, for sure. I need more mags. I need a lot more mags. All right, last mag before I go ahead and clean up and get out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to work that 4x4 hostage target a little bit. Unfortunately, the hostage target is like a beige color, and the backstop, the whole berm and everything is like brown gravel. So it's kind of blending in. Let's see what we can do. Unfortunately, with the hostage target, from time to time, it will rotate from one side to the other, and halfway back, it'll get stuck, and then it's this direction instead of this direction, and that's where we're at right now. There's no hitting it. That's awesome. All right, that's it. I'm done for the day. So yeah, it's an accurate gun. I mean, that hostage target is a 4" by 4" square, and I can regularly knock that sucker from one side to the other without really trying hard, I guess. As far as recoil goes, I think it handles pretty well. It's quite a bit heavier than what I'm used to with my polymer guns, even though the frame is aluminum and not steel. That extra weight does help absorb a certain amount of muzzle rise, which I really appreciate. I definitely think changing those grips out and adding a mag well is really going to take this gun to the next level. One of the things that I really enjoy about this gun is that, you know, because the CZ Shadow2 has been so popular, there is so much out there for aftermarket parts that I'm going to be able to customize this thing absolutely to the moon. Like I said, I have a stack of parts at the house, but I'm not going to put those on until I reach that 1,000 round mark. Once I hit that 1,000 round mark, I will go ahead and start upgrading the gun to see how far I can really push it in terms of performance and kind of personalizing it to my taste. While I was waiting for this gun to come in, I was struggling to find a holster that I really liked, and what I ended up going with is the McKinatec MCT. This is a universal holster, and it indexes up to this TLR7X. So as long as I put the 7X sub on a gun, it's going to go ahead and work with this holster quite nicely. It sticks in there really well. This guy's pretty comfortable. McKinatec is one of my favorite holster companies, so definitely check them out. I've got information on them on my website. Something that I found as soon as I started carrying this gun that I don't like is kind of the design. There is a pin that goes through right here, through these slide serrations, and they should have removed this entire serration right here, because the edge of that is extremely sharp, and maybe it's because I need to lose a little bit of weight, but while it's in the holster and it's pressing up against the body, that pinhole is incredibly sharp and it just rubs right into me. I don't like that at all. In fact, I was ready to bust out a set of files and smooth that out and then obviously refinish the gun, but I remembered that I have this Vetter holster pad in the safe. That saved me, because when I put that on there, it actually covers that pinhole completely, which gives me a hell of a lot more comfort than what I was getting previously. If you're running a holster that does not have a full sweat guard, chances are you may encounter the same thing. I will go ahead and leave information about this Vetter holster pad on my website for you. These things are somewhat cheap, and honestly, this saved the day when it came to carrying the Shadow2 Carry. This was an inexpensive and easy way to get around having to actually modify the gun because of their design flaw. Now that I have this on here, it's actually pretty comfortable to carry. Obviously, again, I am so used to carrying polymer frame striker fired pistols that adjusting to the excess weight of this gun is going to take a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. I do still need to make a couple of adjustments with this holster to really kind of dial it in for me, but right now it's working out pretty well. Look, if you're bored with the average everyday polymer striker fired gun and you want to get into something that's hammer fired, that performs well and is reliable and accurate, this CZ Shadow2 Carry, honestly, it's a phenomenal gun, and it has so much room for improvement in the aftermarket. Not to mention, I mean, this thing just looks cool. But if you're bored with your gun that you have right now, if you want something that performs better and just feels like a dream, CZ Shadow2 Carry is a great option. Next weekend, I will have this bad boy up to probably over 1,000 rounds. Freaking mosquitoes. Next weekend, I'll have this bad boy up over the 1,000 round mark, and then after that, I'll go ahead and start installing some of those aftermarket parts on it and see how far we can really push this gun. Until then, this is the intro for the CZ Shadow2 Carry. Got a lot of content we're gonna make with this gun, so stay tuned. I will see you back here real soon.